Hello everyone, what's up? Well, I know it's been a while since I last posted a video on my channel, let alone a brand new Mythbuster video. It's been about since July since I last made one, and that was the convincing your parents how to buy you a tea. So today's video, we're going back to the old style Mythbuster videos that I used to make, and we're going to be posting once a week, so hopefully I'll be able to finish the series faster this way. Yeah, there's Haley and Leah, the guinea pigs. Showing some domination. Anyway, so today's video, I'm going to be touching on the Aphonopelma seemanni, the Costa Rican zebra. Now, I did cover most of the Aphonopelma species back in Mythbuster video 14. They're pretty much identical. Here in Canada, Aphonopelmas are really hard to come by. They're probably as rare as the Pocothera Hanamavila samica. It's probably because the US doesn't want us to import their species over here. I don't know. I just rarely see these Aphonopelmas here. So the only ones I have in my collection are two A. calcodes and the A.seemanni, which is probably not an American species. Okay, so let's go have a look at the specimen, then I'll do like a classic Mythbuster video, go over the localities, if it's a New World or Old World, where does it come from, the plethora of common names, the scientific name, how to pronounce it, the availability, how rare or common they are, the costs, the growth rates, temperament, a small little care sheet, breeding and handability, and recommendations. Okay, so let's have a look at my specimen. This is a Aphonopelma seemanni, Costa Rican zebra. And let's go have a look. Let's open up the cage. And let's water it. Well, okay. So as you know from the common name, these are a New World species that come from Central America. Let me just prop my female out of there so you can actually see what she looks like. Come in, girl. She hasn't been featured in many of my feeding videos because these guys have a fasting appetite just like your G. rosea. But here we go, that's what they look like. This is a fully grown 5-inch specimen. And they're pretty much not going to grow any bigger than that. Okay, so as I stated, this is a New World species coming from the Central America, particularly in regions of Costa Rica and Guatemala. So now for the common names of the species. This is why I hate common names, and they really shouldn't be used in the tea hobby. I rather prefer the scientific names. But here we go. The most common one is the Costa Rican zebra, but I've seen other pet stores name it the following. You can either be sold as the zebra leg, zebra knee, zebra striped, Guatemalan blue, as I've seen in several UK dealers, and Guatemalan blue stripe because of the striped knees. Also, I labeled this in orange because this is actually what my specimen was sold as, a Thai orange stripe. Now, I got to think to myself, wow, really? Well, I looked at the specimen. It had urticating hair, and there was no way that could have been a Thai stripe species. But as I did research, it turned out to be an A.seemanni, and I'm pretty happy with it. Okay, so now the scientific name. This is what it is. Aphonopelma seemanni, and this is how we pronounce it. Aphonopelma seemanni, or some people call it seemanni. So before moving on to the meat and potatoes of this Mythbuster video, so let's go have a look at what this tarantula actually looks like. Again, she decided to hide in her burrow, her little cave. Come on, Stripes. Yeah, it's actually a pretty unique name if I do say so myself. Okay, so this is what the A.seemanni looks like. It's pretty much, if you have it in the right amount of light, It's sort of like a bluish color to them. They have striped knees all over their body, very similar to the ones you'll see on Nonduchromatus and Ephopus murinus. But it's really unique about this species is the fact that they have an orange underside, the ventral. As you can see, there's the epigastric furrow indicating it's a 100% female. And what's also unique about them is that they have orange spinnerets. Not many species, A.seemannis, or any tarantulas for that matter, have these orange spinnerets. Well, mainly for the Ceracosma species. Now, this is a species that gets up to having a 5.5-inch leg span, so the specimen you see here is pretty much a full-grown specimen. Now, the availability of the species, these are rather very common. They're not very hard to find at all. In Canada, these seems to be the most popular Aphonopelma species sold here. Slings typically go for around $10 to $15 depending on where you get it from. And adults like this will run you in between $30 to $50. So pretty much an average price of a adult pink toe sold in the pet store. Now, where can you find these beauties? Well, there's pet stores. I recommend mainly going to exotic ones that specialize in reptiles and tarantulas, like Petco and PetSmart probably may not have the species over here. I recommend buying 100% online. So if you're in Canada like I am, I highly recommend buying from Tarantula Canada, Amanda Martin. 90% of my teas come from them. There's also arachnophiliacs.ca. I'll put these links on the video description so you'll know where I'm talking about. If you're in the UK, recommended sites are the virginiacheeseman.co.uk or the spidershop.co.uk. And if you're in the US, I highly recommend going to check out Ken the Bug Guy's site, Swift Simverts, as well as netbug.net. There's also arachnoboards, which is highly recommended that you join, because if you look in the for sale or trade section, you actually might find adult specimens pretty much at a very good price. Also, if you're near Europe, Michael Scheller is the top way to go. So I think that pretty much covers where you can buy them from. Okay, so the growth rate. Now, I really don't have a sling to tell you honestly about the growth rate, but seeing as though that they come from Costa Rica and Guatemala, a somewhat more humid region, they typically grow faster than most Aphonopelma species, with a maturity of 5 to 7 years. It's pretty common. Okay, so where was I? That phone ringing kind of lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, here we go. Right, so Aphonopelmas usually take 8 to 10 years to mature. Like typical examples are the Chalcodes, the Anox, and the Hensi. The A.seemanni is typically like a Brachypelma growth rate. 5 to 7 years to mature is pretty much your average, with males maturing around 4 to 6 years of age, depending on how often you feed them. Well, Aphonopelma females look exactly like you see over here. They have big bodies, they have big abdomens, and pretty much stocky built. Mature males, on the other hand, are a lot smaller than the females. The stripe patterns aren't very visible. Also, you have tibial hooks on the first pair of legs, and you also have bulbous pedipalps, like all mature males do. Now, I did forget to mention the lifespans. That's kind of important. Well, males live on average 5 to 7 years. Once they mature, they probably have around 6 months to about a year left to live before they die off of natural causes. Mature females are much more longer lived. Since they are a faster growing Aphonopelma species, they're probably not going to live as long as your A. Chalcodes or A. Anox, which is around 20 to 30 years. Aphonopelma seemannis have an average female lifespan around 15 to 20 years. Now, my specimen was adult when I bought her back in 2008. So she's probably around 12 years old. Okay, so on Tarantula Canada's website, this is their female. It's really not coming clear on camera, but you can see they have bluish tinges on their legs, the characteristic orange spinnerets. This is what a spiderling looks like, pretty much all brown, and a mature male. Yeah, as I thought. They're pretty much dark. They have tibble hooks right on the first pair of legs. You can barely see the stripes, and they're a lot smaller. Now, Aphonopelma seemannis do come in different color morphs. You have, the most common one is the blue morph, which is my specimen over here. They have also a brown morph, which is pretty much the same looking tea, except it's all brown. But you do have the typical characteristic orange spinnerets. And they exist a very rare green morph. I'm not sure if it's under the Aphonopelma seemanni name, or it could be Aphonopelma borealis that Rob C. used to have many years ago. So, now about the temperament of these species. Well, as I always say in my videos, specimens will vary in temperament. Now, most A.seemannis are typically very skittish and sometimes slightly defensive. My specimen is, how do I put it? I would say pretty much unpredictable, just like your G. rosea. My specimen seems to be calm if you touch her with the paintbrush. But sometimes on some days she'll either kick hairs or she'll go into a threat posture. Now, I don't recommend handling these species at all because of their nervous temperament, and it could be very dangerous if a tarantula suddenly starts to bolt out on your hand when you're holding it. And just really be careful if you do handle them low to the ground, and please don't let the abdomen rupture because it's bad news if that happens to a tea. Now for about humidity and temperature. Pretty much everyone's favorite of my Mythbuster videos. Well, Aphonopelma seemannis are relatively easy to take care of. They require a little bit more work than your typical Aphonopelma species, and this is why I decided to make a separate Mythbuster video on these. These like it fairly moist, so pretty much have a water dish full at all times and probably miss around once every week or two. It should be fine. So this is how I house my seemanni. She is in a standard critter keeper by Crabworks, and you can see this is pretty much all that she needs. She's got plenty of room to walk around and to do what she needs to do. So this is actually what I have. I have potting soil mixed with sphagnum moss as substrate, and for a hiding place, I just took a flower pot that you can get from your dollar store or plant store and just use it. It's a pretty cheap cave, and pet store caves can really be quite expensive. So humidity, I would say around 75%. It's pretty much the going rate of most Costa Rican species, and temperature 75 to 80. It's pretty much typical to any tea that I've kept. They're pretty much happy with them. With my room, I keep it around 78 to 82 degrees Fahrenheit, and the way I do it is I don't use any heat pads or heat mats. I don't like them. So I just pretty much have this ceramic Holmes heater. What I like about it is that it has adjustable temperature controls. So it does have a thermostat, so this light will come on if it's too hot, and then it'll come back on. But usually my room is heated anyway with central heating, so I don't really need to put the heater on that often. And my piggies, they just love it. Yeah, they make a big mess. Okay, so next topic is breeding. Oh yes, breeding. Have quite a few bits and pieces to say about this species. Well, I personally have not bred the species. I don't have a mature male as of yet. The only mature male that I have is that E. camperstratus, but from experience on going on arachnoboard sites, they seem to be very difficult to mate because of the mature male's very skittish behavior and nervousness towards the female. So it makes breeding not so easy. But if you do end up breeding them, I would expect around 400 to 600 slings. That's pretty much the typical egg sac of a Aphonopelma species. Could be 800 too, but just not sure about the numbers. And handleability, as I explained earlier, I don't really suggest handling it because of the tendency to bolt from out of nowhere. And personal recommendations, I do recommend this for the beginner. Probably not as your first one, probably as your second or third tee who wants to try something a little bit more speedy but not so aggressive. It's a great way to practice, you know, for your intermediate species like your Lasiodora, your Nandu species, as well as some of your avicularia species like the A. avic and the A. versicolor. So overall, I pretty much like this tarantula. It's a very cool Aphonopelma species, very unique specimen at that, being it from the Guatemala and Costa Rica regions. Overall, it's a really nice tea. I haven't really updated her in any of my feeding videos because she doesn't really eat that often. Oh yes, yeah, I have to explain the feeding. So pretty much what to feed them: crickets, superworms, or roaches. They seem to do well in this diet. Well, as you probably know, a lot of people have asked me how often do I feed my tarantulas. Well, every time you see a new feeding video up on my channel, that is when I feed them. I usually typically feed them once every 2-3 weeks. Sometimes I let them go for a month just to show you that there's nothing to worry about your tarantula not eating for an entire month. And that's what my teas like to do best. I will have a brand new Mythbuster video next week. Haven't decided which species I'll do. I'll pretty much do my Camel Spider if it's still living. I think it is still alive and well. And a new feeding video is going to be on tomorrow, or probably Monday. I want to surprise you guys with a nice Christmas present from John. Okay. Excellent. Let's go have a look at that Camel Spider. Oh, sad news, my B. jacksoni died, so the only scorpion I have left is that B. gigas, the Babicurus. Yeah, it's doing well. Okay, so here is the Solifugen Galoides Granty. Man, this is really heavy. Yeah, still alive and doing well. Excellent. Alright everyone, so I do hope you enjoy this awesome Mythbuster video. So once again, every Saturday you're going to be treated with a brand new one. So stay tuned for Mythbuster video 44, and I will try to get enough information to make a Mythbuster video on this lovely Camel Spider. Alright everyone, thanks for watching.